welcome to another video. This video will be on how to build a deck. I have a plan. I'm going to build a deck in this video without any preparation or anything. I'm just going to be building the deck as the video goes along and giving my advice and cards I recommend and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to wait around a lot. I think I'm going to start as soon as I can. So I have my general thing that I've started using when I'm building a deck. I have this. I have like a notes website open, and I just have any notes. Just have some kind of notes thing we can edit it, so like an online notes. Because I have the totals. I've planned grass fighting. I have like the general amounts that I aim for. Because if I get it here from my Pokemon drawer, I have an entire drawer for some reason. It's just Pokemon card stuff. Oh, just general cards. I have this. Oh wait, need to switch back to my camera. Let me just there. So I have this Trainer's Toolkit. Now, this is something. Well, there's Trainer's Toolkit. It's essentially, it's not an Elite Trainer box, but like it has a lot of similar things to Elite Trainer box. It came with like damage dice and stuff like that. But the important thing is it came with this. It also came with Arceus V, but I never use it because I don't really find much use out of Arceus V. Anyway, Trainer's Toolkit, Deck Builder's Guide. I mean, when I built my first deck, I really read through everything in this, you know, just stuff like that. But that ended up creating a really bad deck because I used Arceus without any other of Pokemon V, so I didn't really have anything to back it up. Because mainly a support Pokemon I generally find. But there we go. If I get closer, it'll sound better. So if oh right, yeah. So the only page it's a page that I look to a lot though. There's one page which is this. It gives like the amounts that you should aim for with and without evolutions. I look at this page a lot because it just shows the general stuff, which is really useful, and that's what I have put here. Aim for 16 to 20 Pokemon, aim for 30 training cards, aim for 12 special energy. You know, I know these amounts don't equal up to, well, no, the specific amounts. I think if you put something together, you don't have to go for those exact numbers. They're what I aim around, though, you know. I never have more than 20 Pokemon, if I remember correctly, unless it's from adding cards later on. So, grass fighting. Let me look for some EXs, because it's good to start with some EXs, honestly. Alright, okay, so, if I just hang on. If I put this here, these are all my grass cards. I don't have as many as I would always think. Okay, let's sort for some EXs. Iron Leaves EX, Decidueye EX, Meowscarada EX, other Meowscarada EX. Let's look in this pile and this other pile. With EXs, their evolutions, just put some of the previous evolutions there. Toadstool and Toadstool. Iron Leaves, another one. Dartrix again, and another Rowlet. That's the one pile. Now remember, you do have two types in this deck, so it won't just be grass. Florigato, and another Sprigatito, more Dartrix, more Rowlet. If you're a Pokemon, you might want to add a non-EX version of its evolution. A Drapple and Applin, Spidops, and Tarantula or Tarantula. I got a comment on the Teal Mask Ogapon video that it is like one of, I think maybe one of the strongest in the game. Now, hang on, Florigato. It is a strong Pokemon, but I would say that maybe Lapras EX Surging Sparks is stronger than it, although I'm not really sure. That's really just up to you, I guess, you know. It's just a thought. I mean, like, it is a strong Pokemon. But anyway, that actually, yeah. So yeah, it is a strong Pokemon, but it's just... Once again, it is up to you. If you want to see it the strongest in the game. Anyway, there's Sandy Shocks, EX, there's Koraidon EX. I remember at one point I made a Fighting Grass deck. I think I've changed some of the types up, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, I changed it into a Fire Fighting deck. If that's what I'm thinking of, yeah. Just because it gave me a bit more options. Riolu and Lucario. I think that's all of them. After we've looked through and decided some of the EXs, you know, we'll go and start narrowing down the other general grass and fighting ones. So, let's grab all the EXs and look through them. Now, let's go for this deck. Let's choose 4 EXs. I think that's good. And then we'll go 2 of each type. That's our basic idea. I feel like going with Sandy Shocks EX because it has Magnetic Absorption. Oh, if we look, it only has one move because of ability, but it's fine. It does 200 damage. Why won't it focus? There we go. So let's start with the ability. Magnetic Absorption. Once during your turn, if your opponent has 4 of your prize cards remaining, you may attach a basic Fighting Energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And then Earth and Spike, 2 Fighting Energy, 1 Colorless, 200 damage during your next turn this Pokemon card's attack. I'd say it's a good deal. So let's put this over here. We know we're going to keep it. Koraidon EX. Ooh. Once during your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic Fighting Energy cards from your discard pile to your basic fighting Pokemon any way you like. If you use this ability, your turn ends. You know what, let's keep this pile as like a way to, it's like we start narrowing down the EXs and then we narrow them down a bit more. Lucario EX, Low Kick and Knuckle. I personally think we're going to skip out on this one just because we already have Sandy Shocks EX, which does a lot of the same. I mean, it does have a weaker move and that can be good, but Iron Leaves EX. Here we go, if we just focus. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may switch it with any of your active Pokemon, then a Prism Edge. Let's put one of them into the, maybe, I don't want to put the promo one, I want to put the, there we go. Toadscruel. Protective Mycelium. Protective Mycelium. Prevent all damage or effects used by opponent's Pokemon down to all of your Pokemon that have any energy attached. Existing effects are not removed, damage not an effect. Okay, so basically you can't get special conditions and stuff like that. Oh no, it just prevents all effects that aren't damage. Okay, that's kind of cool. Colony Rush. This attack does 14 more damage. No. I'm not doing any more. I want to minimize the amount of energy-based ones I have. Decidueye EX. Total Freedom. Once during your turn, you may use this ability. If this Pokemon is on the bench, switch it with your active Pokemon. Or if this Pokemon is in the active spot, switch it with one of your bench Pokemon. So basically swap one of its places. That can be useful. Hunting Arrow. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's 130 for 2, and it's a stage 2. And the Decidueye in general, I think the Decidueye I have is quite strong. Let's put that in the maybe pile. This Meowscarada, now I've had it for a while, that's why the card is bent, but... Meowscarada. If we let the camera focus... Bouquet Magic. Its Bouquet Magic. You must discard a basic grass energy from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, a bench Pokemon. So you can do 30 damage to a bench Pokemon. That can build up. I mean, there are like one or two. Well, no, there are probably quite a few, honestly. There are a few basics that have 30 HP. You would be able to knock it out in one, or if you want, you could knock out in two. Oh, if this card, nah, it's not that bad. Scratching Nails. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage cards on, this is 120 more damage. Let's put these in the maybe pile. It could end up with these being, well, remember though, we can go over the 4 EX, so we can go to around 5, and then I'll probably slow down. Well, no, I'll slow down until I get to 5, and that might be the stopping point, but... Spite-Ups, EX, ability, Trap Territory. Your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is 1 colorless energy more. Then Wire Hang, this type does 30 damage. Wait, there's 30 more damage for each retreat in your opponent, for each colorless in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. Let's look. Retreat costs can vary a lot. It already does 90. Maybe. Hydrapple I won't add because I don't have Dipplin. So, I was just taking out every EX. Now, we haven't narrowed it down a lot, we've only removed 3 cards, but Sandy Shocks is staying. And so is Koraidon, just because I want to have at least 2 of each type's EXs. Now I'm thinking we keep these 3 in EXs. But now, we might be able to swap them out a bit later, so we'll keep these here just in case. It doesn't help that I've got 2 with evolutions now. If we go here, that is 5 Pokemon. Now, of course, there is an issue that arises, and those are Pokemon they evolved from. Luckily, Sandy Shocks and Koraidon are both basics. This is good because there are 3 Pokemon, there are 3 stage 3s, which means preferably, actually, you know what? I'm actually going to remove the... oh, I don't know which one to keep. I think I prefer the color scheme on this Masquerade, on this, the non-ultra rare. So I'll keep this one, put this one to the side for now, just so we can minimize the amount of Pokemon. Well, so we can have a bit more. So I'll need a Floragato and a Sprigatito. Now, I remember when I first got the card, I was annoyed that I didn't have Floragato or Sprigatito, honestly. But now I do. So, let's actually add 2 Floragato. Let's look over them. This Sprigatito is has a 1 energy move, tons of treading, 10 damage, you have 3 coins, 10 damage to each heads. That's good. Let's separate them slightly so we know which ones are. Then there's this Sprigatito, which has a 10 damage scratch and a 20 damage leafage. That's alright. Floragato. Flip a coin. If heads, his attack does 30 more damage and heal 10 damage to his Pokemon. I think that's good. It does 60 damage and heals 30 if you have that. There we go. Then we have Slash for 20 and Leaf Snap for 60. We don't need to look over the EX again, so that's good. Then we have Decidueye EX. Oh, also, actually, let me just quickly grab a Masquerada a non-EX Masquerada. Here we go. Masquerada. Trick Cape. Does 40 damage from colorless. You may put an energy attached to your active Pokemon into their hand. You know, that can interrupt some charging of cards. It can also be beneficial, but still. And then Flower Blast for 130, and to 1 Grass Energy, 1 colorless. I think that's useful. It's good to have a non-EX version when you keep two copies of a thing. So, before we look for more cards, let's look over the current amounts. We've added 2 Florigato, 2 Sprigatito, and a Masquerada. We already had 4, but an extra 2, and so the Florigato is bringing it to 6. The Sprigatito is bringing it to 8, and it's 9 because of the extra Masquerada. Those amounts aren't the best generally because we also want to add some fighting, but we can balance out some amounts afterwards. Technically, we could cut down on the fighting and make it a primarily grass deck. That can be beneficial. Then again, since both the fighting types benefit from fighting being in the discard pile, it's just something to think about. We'll get to it when we come to it. Well, actually, no, we'll still have equal amounts of energy. So, that's 9 Pokemon so far. And yeah. Move my mouse onto there. Now, I'll be moving all of the Sprigatito evolutions over to just behind the camera, so then we can have a slightly less messy table. Now, let's get a Rowlet and a Dartrix. Well, 2 Rowlet, 2 Dartrix, and wait. Let's look at both Rowlet a moment to see which one's better. This Rowlet has add-on to draw a card and leafage for 10. This one just has Razor Ring for 20. I say we keep both of these, since drawing a card can be beneficial. So, we have 2 of these Rowlet, 2 of these Dartrix, which have Shoot Through for 40, and it does 20 damage to an opponent's benched Pokemon. I've seen this used for Hop's Corviknight, or I think it was Corviknight, not Corvisquire. Yeah, I think it was Corviknight. I've seen it used for Corviknight, Hop's Corviknight. It does 50 instead of 40 there, and instead of doing 20, it does 50 to a benched Pokemon. So that's a beneficial move. The amount is currently 13 Pokemon, so we'll definitely need to cut down on some numbers. Unless we just want to keep fighting only for the EXs, which could be a beneficial strategy. Not the best deck building thing, but, you know, we'll decide when we get to it. Then we add another one with Decidueye. We stock up on Feathers, draw a card until 7 cards in your hand, and Power Shot for 170. Just got a basic grass energy card from your hand. If you can't, this attack does nothing. So we're currently on 14 Pokemon. Actually, you know what? We will keep this. Just because... Let's move these back to the back now. Just because, if you know, both of our grass EXs with stage 3s, but both of these are basics. So I think it's fine that we'll have a little bit less of those, because we still have 6 more, well, hang on. we go here, we still have room for six more Pokemon. So we'll make those just fighting, because we already have enough grass. So let's just clear all of these away. Okay, so as you can see, I've cleared the area, and now we have our fighting power. Let's split these into two. Put the cards at the top because I moved everything back into the deck. A card that's sticking out to me is Lycanroc, because I have a special illustration rare of it, and it would be a good excuse to use it in the deck, but also I think I haven't looked at it before, and it had quite good moves. If we look at Lycanroc, camera focus. There we go. Ability Spike Clad. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve it, to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may attach up to 2 Spiky Energy cards to your discard pile of this Pokemon. Spiky Energy, it was saying introducing the Jury together, or it might not be introduced in there, but it's in Jury together, and which is what this set is from. Which means we'll have to add some Spiky Energy if we add it, but Clamping Fangs. It does 40 damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. I think this is a good card. Now, let me just quickly get my specialization back. This is my binder, which I use for just any general. I call it my trade binder, but yeah. We look through here, just a quick glimpse of which ones I have. Just out of these, so we might have to take note of these. Just a very quick show off of these. Just anyway, sorry for the rag there, but might as well. Almost forgot to take the Lycanroc there. Here we go. The Lycanroc. Let's add these. Finding 2 Rockruff will be fine. There's a Rockruff. And there's another Rockruff. Now, if we look here, that is those 4 make it 18 Pokemon. So I have room for 2 more Pokemon. I'm gonna take a brief break, but I will get back to filming. So, yeah. Okay, I'm back. Time to do more cards. So, if I look at the notepad, 18 Pokemon, so we need 2 more, just to balance out the fighting on this. Well, yeah, we need fighting to balance out the grass types. So there's space for 2 more. That could be 2 evolutions, or 2 energy. Okay, so I found 2 cards that I think I'll use. Krogunk and Toxicroak. So Krogunk has Light Punch, 1 fighting energy, does 10 damage, and then it has Frog Hop for 20 plus for fighting energy, and a colorless, it's Flip a coin, if heads, this tank does 20 more damage. Good. And then Toxicroak. Corkscrew Punch for 2 colorless, does 50. a fighting energy and 2 colors to clean hit, which does 90, and if it has if your opponent's active Pokemon has an evolution, does 90 more. I think that's good. 180 for 3 energy on a stage 1. There isn't an EX. Now, if I just grab some things. Okay, how am I going to do this? Let's go for energy next. So then we know the amount of like supporters, items, stadiums, because there's so many subcategories for trainer cards, it's good to have everything else out of the way first. We could technically have added some colorless Pokemon, but I think we'll be fine. Okay, so I have gotten some energy. I have 8 grass energy, which is good, you know. I have 6 fighting energy, and 1 spiky energy, which is all I have, but it should be fine. Let me just... So, in total, that would be... We refer to this... 1 special energy. And I know it's a little over the 12 energy, but it's fine. 14 energy. I'll keep the aim for things, so then I can just use this repeatedly. So, all that's left now... Oh wait, we should probably add the total now, before we do anything else. That's why we have the total. So it's 20 Pokemon and 15 any energy. So that'll be 35 total. Now the rest, like the majority of the deck, as it turns out, I used to think it was energy, but no, it is majority supporter. Oh, not supporter. Trainer cards. So we want to preferably balance out the items and supporters and have a little bit of Pokemon tools, a little bit of stadiums. Like the way I build decks, at least, is like you balance out the items and supporters, but you have then a little bit of Pokemon tool and a little bit of stadiums. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So, next we go on to just what it was, roughly what it was. There we go. Okay. So, let's start with items. So, if we look through items, there's a lot to look through. You'll want a few Pokeball type items. I generally use Nest Ball, a mix of Nest Ball and Ultra Ball. Because these are ones that will definitely help you get Pokemon. Let's also pick Palpad, because I'll probably have quite a few supported Pokemon. Since it's a grass stat, you'll want something similar to Bug Catching Set. Well, no, that's not really. But yeah, I'll be going with Pokemon with Bug Catching Set, so I can get Grass type Pokemon. Let's go with 2 Gutsy Pickaxe, the other Nest Ball, and 2 Earthen Vessel. So, yeah. Well, actually, let's refer to this. So we have 35, so we need 25 training cards. Let's say we start with 10 item cards. So we'll want 10 items, and then 10 supporters, and then 3 Pokemon tools. No, 3 stadiums. Well, 3 stadiums, 2 Pokemon tools. Well, 5 of either Pokemon tools or stadiums. I don't know how good this deck will be. I'll have to give some updates on it, I guess. 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9. So, with these cards, we currently only have 9. Yeah, we currently only have 9 cards. 9 training cards. So, let's look. This is the pile. So, you know what? Let's go with Snorlax style. Here. No. Let's go with Snorlax style. Now, I don't use this one a lot, so let's look through. But anyway, let's look through the cards. First, we'll show Snorlax style. If this card is in the if this card is in your hand when you're setting up to play, you may put it face down in the active spot or on your bench as if it were a 120 HP basic colorless Pokemon. You can do this only when you're setting up to play. At any time during a turn, you may discard this card from play. This card can't be affected by any special conditions and can't retreat. If this card is knocked out, your opponent can't take any prize cards for it. So it's just a decoy for a Pokemon. 120 HP is quite good quite good for a basic, honestly. Next, we have both ones of Gutsy Pickaxe. Reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a fighting energy card, that's just one of your bench Pokemon. If it is not a fighting energy card, put it into your hand. That's beneficial just because either option is good, honestly. Nest Ball. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. That's good. It's honestly like the Master Ball. It's almost like Master Ball, but you don't need. But it's not an ace spec, and you can only look for a basic. Ultra Ball. You can use this card only if you discard 2 other cards from your hand. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Both Nest Ball and Ultra Ball are really good cards. I haven't had much luck with Snorlax style, but I have to play with it more, honestly. Earthen Vessel. You can use this card only if you discard another card from your hand. Search your deck, put up to 2 basic edge cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Good for getting quick energy. It's similar to Gita, the supporter, except Gita automatically attaches them, and you can't move that turn. So. Pal Pad. Shuffle up to 2 supporter cards from your discard pile into your deck. That'll be good if you have some good supporters in, so we'll have to add some good supporters. Bug Catching Set. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal up to 2 in any combination of just grass Pokemon and basic grass energy cards. So you find them, put them into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. All of these are good. So, you know. Now, if we put the item cards back. So, then we have this pile. Let's see. So, let's look at a few cards. With the 10 cards we're going to take. Definitely Jacques. Now, Jacques is... Focus. Search your deck for the 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them and put them into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. That'll be useful with the amount of evolutions we have. I'll try and get as many of those as I can. Well, as many as I can, but I don't think I'll have more than 4 since I use Jacques in a lot of decks. Professor's Research is another useful card we can use. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Let's add 2 Iris's Fighting Spirit, which is... You can use this card only if you discard another card from your hand, draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. That'll be useful. Here's a second Jacques. A second Professor's Research. We'll go with 2 Rhyme, draw 3 cards, switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. And then we'll go with 2 of Lana's Aid. Up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon that don't have a rule box and basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. That will be useful. So those are our 10 supporters. So let me just put my item cards back. So, they're all out of focus now. I've decided that I will go with Dangerous Laser as an ace spec. So that is an extra 11th item card, but now it will balance out. So we'll have two we'll have two stadiums and two Pokemon tools. So let's move over. Let's move to this. 11 items, 10 supporters, and we already know there'll be two Pokemon tools, two stadiums. So if we add all of those up, that 35 goes to 46 when we have the 11 items, 56, and then with the 2 extra, with the 4 extra, 60. So that would be all 60 cards. So we just need to choose our 2 stadiums and two Pokemon tools, which is the amount that you put in most decks. Since stadiums, well, they can benefit both people, which isn't the best in a battle. Also, generally, it's just they're just rarer cards as well. Well, not rarer, but but they're less frequent, and you know. But yeah, Jacques for a deck with this many evolutions will be a very important card. Here is the pile of Pokemon tools. So let's look. One of the two we'll be picking is Technical Machine Evolution. Evolution is so of course since the TM it gives a Pokemon the move. When you use the move, it discards the card, but you know. Evolution. Choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. So you can evolve 2 of your Pokemon. That's useful, especially since it doesn't seem to mention, and especially since it seems that you can evolve a Pokemon even if you've already evolved a Pokemon that turn. But it's also just useful with the amount of evolutions we have. I don't recommend adding berries to the deck since they just give they just mean that Pokemon takes less damage from a very specific type. So, especially this one, Harban Berry, which is a card that I consider one of the worst, seeing as it's only for dragons, which are a rare enough type to find, and it only provides resistance when you're attacked by a dragon type Pokemon. So I would skip out on that one. And because we don't have a lot of other options, because there aren't a lot of other options in this pile, well, and not other useful options, we'll go with Ventral Punch. So if a Pokemon is attached to it knocked out, you put 4 damage counters, so 40 damage. 40 damage on the opponent's Pokemon, or on the attacking Pokemon. And now, the 2 stadiums. We'll put 2 of Town Store in the deck. Once during... I'll go with the one that isn't reflecting. There we go. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a Pokemon tool card, reveal it, and put it into their hand. Then that player shuffles their deck. That lets us look for the 2 Pokemon tools that are in there. And that's the deck. Now, I will usually end up spending a lot more time building a deck, whether it's deciding the type or going into more specifics. But just for this video, to go over the rough explanation of how to build a deck, I thought I'd do this. So, thank you for watching, and I hope this helped build a deck, and goodbye.